Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Second day of the show. I know there is a lot to see, many people to actually connect with, and so little time. So we're going to make it worth it. It's going to be one of the most exciting conversations of the beauty world when it comes to sustainability and innovation. And if you don't know anything about green chemistry, you're going to learn everything about it today. And you're going to see that it's not just a concept and a foreign concept. It's something we trickle down into fragrances, into cosmetics, and you touch maybe 10 to 15 products a day using green chemistry. So this is something that's very close to your lifestyle, and we can find everywhere impacting your preferences, your habits. So we're going to start first with an introduction about green chemistry with Miss Michal Benmayor. She's basically an expert about sustainability and innovation. And you're right now at dsm-firmenich, right? Yeah. Perfect. So please, the floor is yours. Tell us everything we have to know about green chemistry.
Absolutely.
And how does it impact the perfumery industry?
Well, thank you for having me first, Valerie. It's a pleasure to be here. In modern perfumery, we use a combination of natural and synthetic molecules, and together our perfumers create fantastic and unique olfaction with them. So chemistry is really the backbone of fragrance creation. Green chemistry is a relatively new concept that was introduced in the 1990s with the framework of the green chemistry principles. These are guidelines or framework to creating at the molecular level, really working at the molecular level to create more sustainable ingredients. What it helps us is to understand how our chemists can work in a way that follows through different principles that allow us to create in a more sustainable way. Few examples of these principles would be design for degradation, meaning how can we create ingredients that biodegrade into the environment and don't persist. Second example is the usage of renewable feedstock. So moving away from petrochemistry into bio-based ingredients. Economy means the usage of efficient energy, reduction of waste. And that's where today in a sustainable world, we want to reduce CO2 footprint, and that helps us in doing that. And last but not least, safety. How do we design ingredients that are safe for humans? Using these principles enables us to create ingredients that are safe, sustainable, and at the same time performing and olfactively interesting. And therefore, having those in our palette of perfumers, for example, in dsm-firmenich, enables us to create fantastic fragrances of the future that are more sustainable, follow your regulations, and drive these fantastic olfactions. Few ingredients, for example, that follow these principles are from our musks, new generation of musks that initially were animal-based. Now we have musks like romandolide or sorbetolide, which are renewable, leveraging upcycled ingredients and biodegradable. Another important aspect of green chemistry is biotechnology that I know we will talk about later, leveraging fermentation for sustainable ingredients like Dreamwood, an ingredient that we introduced in 2020, which is 100% natural, leveraging a fermentation process, renewable and biodegradable. I hope that helps to introduce the concept.
It's much clearer now. I must say that it's always interesting to smell the ingredients because we realize that these are ingredients that we use in our daily products. So then it has a strong impact on our daily life. And what's interesting, we had Jonathan Varr with us yesterday. And Jonathan is specialized into sustainability as well. And he had a graph showing us the impact of green chemistry, the carbon impact and footprint of green chemistry versus naturals versus biotechnology. So everybody talks about biotechnology, is excited about biotechnology, but super green, it has the lowest carbon impact, but it's very costly to actually develop. And it's one protocol, one research and development process by molecule. So it requires a lot of resources. So it's somehow in itself not sustainable, even though it is so sustainable. And when you see green chemistry, then you realize that green chemistry has the greatest impact because we can apply it everywhere. And even though without knowing it, we apply it everywhere. So we also have to take into account the ratio, right? And then the concentration of each ingredient in a formula to see where we can have the greatest impact when we design a formula, right? Even though we use naturals, we're like, okay, we use naturals, but it's only like 0.1% in a formula. So then even though it's not that green, it's still not that impactful, right?
You're right. I mean, these principles, that's the beauty of this framework, is that it can be applied very broadly.
Perfect. So this was the introduction to green chemistry, which is very technical somehow and scientific oriented. And now we talk about the brand. So I'm turning to you, Sanjana. When it comes to cosmetic products and your cosmetic brand in particular, do you use green chemistry, biotechnology, and how does it translate into a product itself?
Sure. Thank you. So we have a skincare brand called Potion, which in itself is a skin delivery system consisting of 3 products that are skin solutions for every phase that your skin deals with on a daily basis. It's a great topic because we use biotechnology, we use natural extracts. I will take you through our skin delivery system in the next couple of slides. We have a 3-product routine consisting of a cleanser, a serum, and a sunscreen. They all use active ingredients that are derived through biotechnology. And the main reason that we do this is mainly because of 2 reasons. One is it's a very low waste process, which means, as Valerie said, the resources used, the energy used to procure these are much lower. It's a much more sustainable process. And second is the biocompatibility with your skin's natural barrier. So all of our products are exactly aligned to your skin's natural pH, which is pH 5.5. And the biotechnology aspect is only and only to increase the efficacy and the biocompatibility to your skin's itself. I'm going to take you a little bit through the 3-step delivery system that we have at Potion. This is our cleanser. We use salicylic acid, neem, and charcoal beads to give you a complete detox. The salicylic acid, again, is derived through biotechnology. It's a very low waste process. Our bottles are completely glass, and so this also preserves the efficacy of the ingredients that we activate as we use the product. The second product we have is a probiotic serum. We use hibiscus extract, we use hyaluronic acid, we use lactic acid, all derived through biotechnology. Very interesting fact about this product is that our hyaluronic acid is derived through a fermentation process. Hyaluronic acid naturally is derived through animal tissue. A lot of people don't know this because a lot of cosmetic brands use hyaluronic acid. Next time you enter a cosmetic store or a pharmacy, please find out where are they procuring the hyaluronic acid from. Not only is it more sustainable and aligns with green chemistry, but efficacy-wise, when you derive an ingredient and you procure an ingredient through a natural process like fermentation, it completely aligns with your skin's natural barrier and increases the efficacy. The third most innovative product that we have is our On Guard blue light protecting sunscreen. We have derived this by extracting capsaicin, which is a natural active through red bell pepper extract. The permanent damage that we get through blue light radiation, through all of your digital devices, not only are we exposed to it more than the sun, it is more permanent damage because it tracks into the epidermis, which is a very, very deep layer of your skin. So we have a 3-step skincare routine at Potion. As I said, biotech is not only the future, but it also allows us to align to a clean and conscious model at Potion.
You know what I found amazing with Potion, Sanjana? I think it was 18 years ago. 18 years ago, Clarins launched the first on the market, the cosmetic brand Clarins from France. They launched a product to fight against UV light, blue light from the screen.
Yeah.
Because we started using more and more the screen, being in front of the computer, and eventually using our phone. But it was not the right time. And it was not the right target audience. Because right now, with millennials, with Gen Z, we spend between 10 to 16 hours a day in front of a screen. That can be a tablet, that can be a computer, that can be our phone. Imagine, it's 10 to 16 hours per day, unless we go for an hiking in the Hata Mountain or we go skydiving or scuba diving. if it's not extreme activities, we're always in front of our screen. So then this causes damages. And I don't know the ratio between UV light and then blue light, but it causes damages. So this is the right time to actually launch such product. And I think that your concept is very wise because, I'm sorry for giving my opinion, my humble opinion is that you're targeting the younger generation because price-wise, it's super affordable. It is super interesting. So everyone can afford such products.
Absolutely.
From our own pocket money. We don't need to earn like $100,000 to actually have a daily beauty routine that looks like something and then to protect our skin. So then 20 years down the road, we still look fresh and young. You know, it's an investment for the future. So really like, Sanjana, thank you for making this possible for everyone. I'm just saying women, but men as well use cosmetic products. But thank you for making this available for everyone.
I think thank you so much, Valerie. And if as a founder and CEO, if I had to say one thing to my younger self, we keep looking for, especially in sun care, it's a very trending ingredient, especially with K-beauty and Asia coming from a very preventative point of view. We are always looking for a higher number, right? SPF 40, SPF 50, UVA, plus, plus, plus. What I would say is as a generation that is exposed to so many digital devices, ensure that in addition to the products that have zinc oxide and titanium dioxide that is protecting you against the sun, please ensure that you're looking for active ingredients like potion that is protecting you from radiation as well. And I'll tell you why. It's because as not commercial as it is, digital damage is more permanent damage. It can lead to melasma. It can lead to pigmentation. And so if we are only using the commercial ingredients like zinc oxide and titanium dioxide as protecting you from a very surface level protection, we are disregarding your actual day-to-day activities that can lead to that uneven skin tone that you will then later have to do laser resurfacing. So take a preventative approach. Take a more holistic approach. As I said, at Potion, we use red bell pepper extract that has active ingredients potent enough to protect you. And as I was mentioning to my fellow panelists, when we are behind a screen for so long, our eyes tend to hurt. So imagine if your skin could talk, what would it say? It's a big discussion.
Beautiful, yeah. And you were mentioning titanium dioxide and zinc dioxide. What is our product we only find inside makeup and then skincare with UV protection.
Correct.
So I don't know for you, me, I don't use UV protection every day, especially when I'm working from home. I will not be using makeup or sun protection. I'll be just at home with a naked skin, basically.
Yeah.
So which is very vulnerable.
Yeah.
So that's a great asset. So we definitely need to try the product.
Absolutely, yes.
And you know, when we had this conversation, Sanjana, and just backstage, there's something more that you can do for all of us here today and for the next generation. It's like you can mentor the next generation because over there you found your blue zone, you found your blue ocean over there, developing your company with like innovative and sustainable ingredients at an affordable price, targeting the right generation. So this is about a blue ocean that you're developing over there in India.
Yes, it's a deep ocean.
Yeah.
We are going to tackle it. Yes, thank you.
So now we have one last question for you. And it's a tricky one because nobody likes talking about certification. It's a bit boring, pricey. There is a jungle of certification out there. We don't really understand which one we should go for. Is it Cosmos, EcoVadis, EcoCert, FedEx, or maybe BICO, Fair for Life, Fair Trade? We don't know. So do you use any certification at Potion, knowing that you are a brand new cosmetic brand?
Well, I think my fellow panelist is the expert, but at Potion right now, we are FDA certified. But what we face is we're in the midst of getting Cosmos certified. And I think it's extremely important to be authentic as a brand. So for example, Leaping Bunny is a cruelty-free assurance. Then you have EcoCert, which talks about organic ingredients. At Potion, as much as we love when our customers navigate green options. They have to have green choices, which is why companies like us, brands like us, are investing in getting certified. The barriers to entry right now, in my opinion, are high. But again, in order to promote transparency and navigate better choices, we are in the midst of getting certified. But again, I think authenticity, honesty, transparency, and giving your customers a sense of familiarity. When you have a couple of brands that are Cosmos certified, there's a safe zone that customers feel when choosing a product because there's a certain commonality. But I think Laurent will be able to guide me better on how globally this is as an investment.
Exactly. So when it comes to certification, well, Laurent, you're the right person to talk to. So thank you first for joining us today and for explaining us everything about certification and especially about Cosmos.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me today. Sometimes I try to present myself as your own little fact checker because there are thousands and thousands new cosmetic brands every year on the planet. And I feel that most of them claim to try to make the world a better place. Most of them try to claim that very green. And at Cosmos, we do believe that transparency is actually the new green. And transparency means to be available for fact checking, and not only to claim that you would like to be green or that your ingredients are green, but also to accept to be checked by someone. At Cosmos, we created this association 15 years ago. It's a European association. Now it tends to be a global association because we operate in 86 countries in the world. And we try to define what an organic cosmetic can be, what a natural cosmetic can be. It's not only about establishing a standard, but also to ask a company to actually go to a company and to audit a company to check that the standard is actually applied and that the company complied with the requirements of the standards. So that's why we have third parties, what we call certification bodies. EcoCert is one of them, but we have some other. Today and counting, we have 11 other certification bodies all over the world. We have 2 of them in Korea, 2 of them in Turkey, in European countries, in the US. Pretty much they operate internationally. So wherever you are in the world, you can find a certification body that come to your company anywhere in the world to audit your processes, your ingredients, your claims, so that at the end of the day, you can claim that you are actually organic or natural, and then you can carry one of the Cosmos signature to ensure to your consumers that you are actually what you claim to be. And this is really important. In this affair, this is the least our consumers deserve to get.
But still, it's a bit, for some of us, difficult to understand the concept because Cosmos will certify products. Am I right? Products based on naturals, based on environment, based on ethical, based on biotechnology and green chemistry. What do we actually certify?
That's a very good question. When we started back in 2010, when actually they started to think about it back in 20 something. So when even the word organic was not even a word. And step by step, the first version of the standard was pretty much about organic agriculture, no pesticide, this kind of stuff. And then step by step, we moved to the next level because the consumer wouldn't understand that, okay, you have a very nice and clean agriculture, but you use children to make this nice, fancy agriculture, which is absolutely impossible to imagine. So step by step, we move to the next level, which is the corporate social responsibility. Then we go to the next level, which is any kind of transparency as a company, and step by step, the wall is even higher. Okay, which makes for the company even more complicated to get the certification, which is for us something like a challenge. Do we have to make the wall even higher, or do we have to create something more affordable to get most of the companies with us to start the journey into green cosmetics? That's a real question, and we are trying to answer this question. We just did with Kantar, 1,000 consumers all over the world, all of our clients all over the world, to ask them, okay, what do you think standard could be in 10 years from now? To answer, is it very high one and to be the purest company ever, not only for the product, but also as a company, as a manager, as pretty much everything. Okay. And that's a big challenge for everyone. And especially where the market gets a bit tough. Okay. You always hesitate to say, do I have to spend more money, more time to something that I'm not entirely sure that would provide me additional business? That's a fair question for any company. Or do I have to get a certification which is more affordable, maybe less demanding, less sustainable, less something, but I will provide a label on my product anyway. That's a very interesting. Just in Europe, you have 250 different labels. Okay, barely 50% of them are actually based on actual requirements, meaning that you can just. I remember there was one logo I have in mind. I will not say which one, but you just apply. You click some boxes. You pay $100, and then you can apply the logo on your product. Okay, so it's pretty much nothing. And in Europe, there will be new regulation about it, which is called the Green Claim Directive, just to organize the market and to ensure that there is third party I was talking about, which is a certification body that apply an actual requirements. And then I know that in the US and the Indian market are very interested in this kind of directive, maybe to roll it out in their country, just to clean the market and to avoid any misleading claims and unfair competition. Because I'm sure that all of you guys working in cosmetics, you have seen products that you feel, that you knew they were unfair or misleading of some kind. This is what's going to happen within the next 2 or 3 years.
You know, there was a very good conversation we had yesterday as well about certification, but it came to natural ingredients itself. So let's say through Farm Life or then Fairwild certification when it comes to oud, because we have a oud problem and the Dohun problem and the Bahur problem here in the region, because you have counterfeit. You'll be purchasing a product at a very high price, but then you realize that, well, it contains glue, it contains paint. Eventually, there is a thickener, so it's not the right quality of oud. Maybe they added some brownish, chocolatey coloring agent, so it's not real oud at all. So this increasing need for certification translates the need for transparency. So then we want to make sure that we buy what's written on it. And I think it trickles down as well to the end consumers. So then there is a rising need for certification towards the end product as well. And there is something that somehow is not clear for me when it comes to Cosmos. Can we certify a perfume as well or on your cosmetic products? Do we go skincare or do we go makeup? What can we certify?
Any kind of cosmetics, which is called any regulation, if it can be called a cosmetic, it can apply to Cosmos. But the question, the issue you talk about fake products is really, we have two issues at Cosmos. The first one, which is a bit dramatic, which is the war zone, because what we promise to any consumer is that we go to companies to audit them. And sometimes there are some countries where we cannot go because there's a risk for the auditors. There is a risk for any third party to go there. So we are in the middle to say, okay, do we have to maintain the certificate, whatever happens, even if we cannot go to this company to audit them, but it's a big bridge to the final consumer, because at the end of the day, we say to a guy, and we can be very empathic to that guy, and to say, okay, we would like to keep your certificate, but at the end of the day, we don't know what actually happened in the company. And the second issue is fake ingredients. And I got the issue a very few weeks ago with very nice ingredient, which is called bakuchiol, which is really trendy and very expensive. And there are some fake certificates on the market, especially as you can, try to give a sample, which is not exactly bakuchiol for testing, or you can the analysis that you can make are not the ones that you need to have just to ensure that there are no solvents in that ingredient. So the fake ingredient is really, really crucial to us.
So it's not about fake products only. It's also about fake ingredients.
That's our thing.
So we definitely need you in the market.
I think the markets need some regulation. This is the least we can provide to the final consumers. I mean, organic and natural cosmetics from the beginning with labels. I don't know why he started with big labels. At the end, it's a big Christmas tree of labels on product, and then it's very confusing for the final consumers.
Yes, it is.
And I felt that most of the local authorities of any country would like to organize it earlier, and that's very good for the market, just to claim it.
Perfect. We will take it forward. And now another question for you, because we have to be a bit technical. If I'm a brand owner, like Sanjana, for example, with Potion, how can we check in a few steps if we are entitled for Cosmos certification or not?
That's a big challenge for us. I truly believe, and something that the board of Cosmos share, is that agriculture and technology is a great combination. And we need to provide our clients, we need to provide the brand owners all the technological tools we can provide them to help them to formulate cleaner products and cleaner formulas. And we have this big project about using artificial intelligence on our database. Our database, we have database about 60,000 raw materials and products. And a formula is a combination of raw materials, okay? And this is why we are creating right now, which is an artificial intelligence-based tool to help the formulators to formulate the product they would like to design. And this is absolutely key. Just in a couple of clicks, maybe more than 2 clicks, to create something which could be clean, which should be Cosmos certifiable, and then to help them to formulate, because at the end of the day, it's someone in his lab who is creating the product, and of course we need to help them.
There is something that's a bit similar to the SPICE initiative when it comes to packaging, is it? The SPICE initiative, that you co-create somehow the product to see if the packaging is sustainable, it's recyclable, it can be upcycled. So it sounds a bit similar.
Absolutely. Everybody works pretty much on the same thing, just to pay back to our clients, because they invest a lot of time and money into certification. And at the end of the day, we need to give them back.
You know, there's something exciting about the industry is that we use artificial intelligence, and we're going to use it even more to make our life easier and then to somehow make it cost effective. Because if we trickle down this AI within your system, one instant we know if our products can become Cosmos certified without having to pay a dirham, right? And then when we certify, it's much faster because somehow everything is already in the system, right?
Something. Absolutely.
Yes, you were thinking, sorry.
Yeah. I was thinking about the evolution of this market since the beginning, back in 2020.
Yes.
How it is and how it will be in 10 years from now. And using all the technology you can have and to make life simpler for the brand owners, absolutely crucial. We need the brand owners to spend time expanding the business, developing new products, and not making audits. I know a company of my own, and we spend like hours preparing audits. It's worth it for our consumers, okay? It's fine for the consumers. But at the end of the day, we need to make it simpler, easier, faster, and of course, has to be cost effective.
Exactly. Perfect. Thank you very much, Laurent. Now we're going to deep dive into green chemistry. So I'm turning to you, Michal. What are the tools that you developed for the perfumery industry that you're using on a daily basis, but that also inspire the rest of the industry to do better?
It's a great question. I think first what's important to note is why are we using green chemistry? And to go back to the importance that we were talking about, regulations that are changing, increase in transparency, there's an evolving consumer taste. And what we want to ensure that whatever we develop in terms of fragrances and cosmetics has the right innovation and sustainability behind it. And leveraging green chemistry helps us in that direction. In order for us to drive that direction, what we've done at dsm-firmenich, which is a science-based company backed with chemistry and highly investing in innovation and sustainability, is really establish bold targets. So we set targets for 2030 to reduce our carbon footprint by 25% and to increase the biodegradability of our portfolio above 90%. Stating that numeric targets publicly helps us set our destination. Then we leverage 3 key levers to drive those. These are our tools. First of all, measurement. How do we measure where we stand? Sustainability is a synonym to data. In order to improve where we are, we need to know where we stand today for a better tomorrow. One of the key challenges that we face in the industry is the reduction of carbon footprint, and therefore we use LCA, life cycle assessment. Having that data by ingredient, by fragrance creation, helps us understand what are the different hotspots, where do we need to address to drive those decreases. So measurement is the first point. The second point is transforming up our palette. As fragrance creators, we work with a palette of ingredients. And what we want to ensure, and this is where green chemistry and biotechnology and upcycled ingredients come to play. How do we create ingredients that are more sustainable? For example, one of the biotech ingredients that we can talk about is Dreamwood. It's a fermentate-based ingredient based on 100% natural sources, prepared from sugarcane. It's olfactively driving familiar natural ingredients, but created in a different way, in a more sustainable way, and at the same time reducing the carbon footprint by over 50%. And last is in our creation. So we have the measurement, we have the ingredient, and then we go into eco-creation. How do we create the fragrances in a way that uses more with less, etc.?
It's a hot topic, and there are so many tools that have been developed by dsm-firmenich. It is outstanding. And I must say that I've been watching from afar, and you're a great source of inspiration for the industry.
Thank you.
And every time we talk about sustainability, we always come back to the tools that have been developed by your company. And it's beautiful to see it grow and then inspire the rest of the industry. So thank you for this.
Thank you. One of the tools that we've developed internally is the EcoScent Compass. It enables us for each fragrance to have really over 80 data points understanding the sustainability profile of the fragrance. It's digitally integrated into our creation stations of our perfumers. So as they create, they can see the data live, and that enables them to make right choices. Each time we upgrade our system, we introduce smart switches, which enables them to see how they can work on different KPIs within sustainability and improve them as they work forward.
It's live, right?
It's a live tool, absolutely.
So we were discussing last year with Miss Odile Pellissier, right? And then you just launched the Eco Compass with AI for Evaluator.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We launched our EcoScent Compass in 2018, and in 2023, we introduced our next generation, which improved the usage of AI, increased the number of data points, integrated more lag switches, as I was talking about, to really improve the easiness of working with the tool, having it integrated for perfumers to create, making creating sustainable fragrances easy and intuitive.
Thank you for sharing with us today. And now we're going to talk about the future. So I'm turning to you, Sanjana. What do you see for Potion in the future? Where do you see the brand evolve?
So we are currently merging AI with IT. And so how this helps is, as I mentioned, Potion, we use a lot of biocompatibility in order to increase the efficacy of the ingredients into your skin. So when we use AI combined with IT, what we are really doing is we are creating permutation combination of ingredient sourcing and product formulation that will save us time and resources on what the perfect synergy of product formulation is for your skin. As Laurent said, it's in order to get there sooner, in order to have a greater impact. Another thing that we are doing, we will be doing in the future, is the concept of bioprinting. So what we do with bioprinting that is popular, that we will be using, is we can actually mimic skin conditions to use as testing for a product. So for example, today we have a 3-step skin delivery system that is pH neutral, which means it works across genders, across regions, across climates. Tomorrow, if we want to create a system that can prevent the progression of eczema. We are able to mimic eczematic skin conditions or melasma skin conditions, or something very simple like acne and psoriasis skin conditions, and test these products and its efficacy specifically on these skin conditions in order to be reliable, safe, and on target for our customers. This is a very exciting project because you're able to do targeted skin solutions. You have to mimic skin conditions through bioprint, which again, completely is a low waste process because low energy resources, there is no animal cruelty. And the third thing at Potion that we will be exploring is nutraceuticals. Today, every product has the minimum percentage of a combination of essential oils that have been proven to improve your mental health. So things like the skin-gut axis will be researched into in understanding adaptogenic ingredients and its impact on your skin and the skin barrier. So we're going to be busy.
Because this is something that we didn't introduce properly. For those who don't know the concept of the microbiota and the microbiome, the fact that it has an impact on your mental health as well. So then by actually using cosmetic products that are particular and have a positive impact on your microbiome, well, I would not go all that way to the sense that we can fight against depression, but we can go towards this direction, right?
100.
You can improve health and well-being by using products that have a positive impact on your microbiome.
Yeah.
So if you combine this with nutraceuticals, then you have a double synergistic effect, and then you really have a positive impact on your health, right?
Yes. So when you enter, for example, something that's very relatable is when you enter a spa, there are certain scents that have been formulated on purpose to emphasize that sensual experience that you have. So for example, an essential oil like lavender, an active ingredient in lavender is linalool, that has been proven. There are clinical studies that say that lavender elevates your mental health. So it isn't a coincidence, it's completely intentional, and it uses the sensory experience to again impact mental health, which is where the industry is heading.
You know, somehow I would like to add something on your point because we can go even further. When I was traveling from Zurich to Dubai, and sorry if the conversation is a bit long, please bear with us. When I was traveling by a plane, and I'm lucky that we had no issue whatsoever to Dubai, I was sitting next to a scientist. He happens to be a very famous scientist. And I was wondering why he was traveling with me in economy class. And he was managing a whole research and development center about, for those we know about genetics and biology, RNA. So not the DNA, but then the messenger that translates the DNA. And then we realized through COVID and then research around COVID that, well, our RNA were responsible for 98% of our cells, and the building blocks were only representing 2%. So then when you understand this, you realize that sequencing your DNA is the next step. And apparently there was a website, I'm sorry for doing a bit of advertising, called sequencing.com in the US, and you can sequence your DNA. And then you would connect this with a cosmetic brand and then customize cosmetics to your own DNA to make sure that this is suitable to your needs, and it will prevent any case diseases to arise.
It's beautiful. And this is very interesting because today, for example, there are predominant conditions that can be derived. So, for example, Asian skin tones are more prone to pigmentation. The Caucasians are prone to more rosacea. In America now, because of their food, eczema and psoriasis are dominating. So it's very interesting, Valerie, that you mentioned that, because it would really prevent something that your lineage is already indicating that could make your choices and your transparency toward skincare, cosmetic certification choices much quicker, much sooner.
So this is in the future. Then when I come back to Laurent, what do you see for Cosmos?
Well, I think we're having a great time. We always feel, okay, back in the days it was better, or the future would be bright. But I think right now is a fantastic timing. We spend years trying to fight nature, And now we feel that aging gracefully may be the best option. We at Cosmos, we try to help. We try to provide any farmer in the world the tools to provide product which is more sustainable, more efficient, and which comply with all the requirements of traceability. And that will open for this guy the whole world for his product and to expand his business all over the world. The first important step for us. The second one is to provide the tools for any brand owners to make cleaner formulas and to help this guy to focus on the development of his business and not so much about, spending time on administrative tasks. But what is really behind is, the claim about making the world a better place. But I think that behind the claim, this very operational and very direct idea is to fight greenwashing and to make all the companies greener and to give the consumers what they actually deserve, which is a product that will help them to age gracefully and to be at ease with themselves, comfortable with themselves. And this is the most important, I think. So for Cosmos, this is the perfect timing to give everyone the tools they provide to be a better self.
It's beautifully said, to age gracefully and to develop the tool for this. Now I'm turning to you, Michal. What are the challenges that you foresee in the future in matter of sustainability? And how would you actually tackle this at dsm-firmenich?
How long do we have? I think
a minute. I think they have many, many challenges that we're all facing. And I would say some of the important ones, the pressure points, I would say first, climate change. We're all experiencing it. And we know that the science tells us that the human-made acceleration since the industrial times, we've accelerated significantly CO2 emissions that have direct implication to the erratic weather that we're evidencing. So the hurricanes, the droughts, the floods, they will continue. That's a major challenge for us all to deal with. And the implication of what we as industries do provoking that. I would say climate change is an aspect that's also provoking a human crisis. If we continue in the same rate of emissions, in 50 years, there will be many, many regions where people will no longer be able to live in. That will create climate migration. It creates different diseases and expedited inequality. So it has both an impact on people. We see regulations are advancing very, very quickly. There's more necessity to report. There's many more questions. And that's also something that's adding additional layer to our businesses. Then we see investors that are much more interested in sustainability. So asking hard questions and forcing the industry to advance in that direction. So both in terms of investors, and I think in the future, all investors will be sustainability investors. It will be a key impact for all. We see that in industries as well. Clients, they are pushing sustainability as well. They're interested because they want further transparency. We talked about transparency. And last but not least, consumers. Consumers are living through these vectors themselves. They don't want to be sold just smoke and mirrors. They want transparency. They want to know what's in their product. And they want to know that what they're purchasing is good for themselves and good for the planet. So all of these elements are coming together. I think for us together, collectively, carbon emission, which has a direct implication on climate change, is one of our biggest challenges across the beauty and fragrance industry and many other industries. And this is one that we should all put in effort to drive. As we spoke about earlier at dsm-firmenich, by setting these targets, by driving data-based decisions, by driving ingredient development that reduces impact, yet still drives delight in terms of products, is really what we think is the way forward.
Thank you, Michal, for sharing, for your wisdom. There is something when it comes to finance which is very interesting. If you need to contract a loan for a new project as a brand, let's say, you can actually incorporate as a KPI, a sustainable KPI, a green KPI, that will provide you with a better interest rate. So this is also something to take into account that people underestimate, that doing good and being sustainable can have a financial benefit, but also on the loan itself. on the money that we need to allocate for this. So we are coming to an end. And on behalf of the beauty world, I would like to thank our guest speakers for sharing their knowledge, experience with us today. Through this roundtable, we realized that green chemistry is not a foreign concept, but rather a pretty tangible tool to design ingredients sustainably. Green chemistry is indeed in everyone's mouth and should be on everyone's agenda for a greater impact. It is not just out there, it's everywhere. Applied in all products we touch on a daily basis, this enables to optimize both our resources and cost. Whereas certification like Cosmos support the industry in their sustainable journey and is definitely a plus for businesses. And as we speak, we're getting ready for a major sustainability event organized by IFRA, which stands for the International Fragrance Association, adjacent to the Beauty World event. So please keep an eye open, see what's going to be published online, and reach out if you'd like to know more and eventually become an IFRA supporting member in the region and be surrounded by like-minded individuals. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, Valerie, panelists, for sharing some insights on green chemistry. We do have some time left for questions from the audience. Would anyone have some questions? I'm sure there's so much information that you've just received. We do have microphones going around the audience.
Hi, I didn't listen all presentation, but for the EI and for how to, with DNA, or how to you detect pathology like eczema or melasma, and I didn't understand very well, but it's very interesting issue. So if you explain to me how you detect evolution of these pathologies and how to treat and how to deal with treatment with EI.
With AI or with the skin conditions?
The skin conditions and how EI can deal with these issues.
Okay, so I'm going to focus your question on two answers. AI, when it comes to our brand, because we focus on ingredients that will give you the best results together. For example, we have a cleanser that had an active called salicylic acid, which is known to declog your pores, and we combine it with charcoal. Now, charcoal is known as a natural detoxifier. So we have clinical studies that combine when you combine two ingredients together from a biocompatible. So when you have AI has naturally permutation combinations that talks to you about the strongest ingredient combinations that will give you a certain outcome. Now, when it comes to certain skin conditions, I mentioned bioprinting. So what we are currently doing, or we want to eventually work with companies in India who they are third-party companies, what they are able to do is if a consumer or if a certain demographic has more psoriasis or acne or rosacea, as a company, and these are scientists, that they are mimicking the skin conditions with certain biomarkers of this region, of this demographic. And then companies like I can test certain formulations on these skin conditions to see if, for example, we have a serum that is with hyaluronic acid. We have customers with eczema and psoriasis that are using the product. Today, because we are an honest and transparent company, we don't have on our claims that we can prevent eczema, because that is a very serious claim. So tomorrow, what we would love to do is we would love to make these claims when we can back it up. So tomorrow, when we use our product on bioprinted material that reflects eczematic skin conditions, we can prove that we are preventing someone's eczema progress. That is the goal that we have at Potions. Does that answer?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Thank you, Sanjana. All right. Well, thank you very much, panelists. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for our green chemistry.